What's going on, guys? Spellsey back again with another quick video, and today we're going to be going over the best way to train your combat stats in old school RuneScape with the least amount of effort and the best AFK methods in the game. So let's be reasonable. Most of us can't play RuneScape 18 hours a day and get our stats up to 99s on everything in just a couple of years, right? Most of it's going to take a lot of time. We can't play the most efficiently. We're either at work all the time, or we're in classes all the time, or you're raising kids or whatever, and you just can't dedicate a whole bunch of time to really efficient methods to get your character maxed. And that's perfectly fine, because today I have a solution for you on how you can get decently high combat stats and participate in all the fun stuff in the game, whether it's PvM or PvP content or endgame bossing or whatever you want to do, and you can get that way in about 2 weeks' time. So for those of you that follow me on Twitter, you probably noticed that my car has been needing to be worked on over and over and over again, which left me with a lot of time where I was in the garage and not able to play RuneScape. But the RuneScape bug bit me and I was back on it. I was trying to get my stats up and I was sitting there thinking, okay, what's the best way for me to not kill time, but to be able to go ahead and maximize, my gains? And mobile's now out on RuneScape, so I was just thinking, okay, what's the best way for me to AFK? Now, most of you have probably been in that situation before, and if you're like me, your first go-to thought is Nightmare Zone, right? Or maybe even Sand Crabs, but Nightmare Zone for now, right? You know for a fact you can AFK for 5 minutes, you get really good training experience, and you can be there for a long period of time. But I approached this last week a little bit differently, and I managed to get 5 million experience in a week. That averages out to a 99 in about 2 weeks from level 70s, which is pretty fast. And the best part about this, I did this with only touching my phone a few times an hour. And this isn't like anything that's, super hard to do or set up. Like, anybody can do it, and you can literally max out your character in a little bit over a month with hardly having to play the game. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the best way to set up your Nightmare Zone so that you can get the easiest experience with the least amount of effort, and we're going to go over how you can access your computer from your phone so that way you can AFK for the longest period of time without having to keep your phone open. You'll be able to lock it and everything. So let's hop right into it. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Nightmare Zone is a mini game where you're supposed to fight bosses from quests that you have already completed. However, based on how they are always attacking you in certain game modes, it ended up being one of the best ways to train your combat stats for a while. Usually, people will go ahead and drop their hit points down to 1, use absorption potions and overloads, and then just keep their health at 1 so that way they can stay for the longest period of time. However, there is a little bit easier, although slower way to do this, but it allows you to AFK for 20 minutes or more. Now, I've been posting my progress on Twitter all week, and I was getting messages from people, and I was getting, DMs from friends. Hey, how do you set this up? What are you doing? Because no one's used to seeing me get these kind of gains, and all of a sudden I just came out from 90 strength to 99 strength in what seemed like no time. People are like, whoa, holy shit, how is he doing this? All my friends know that I have, no bank, no nothing, so their first question is, well, he's got to be doing something crazy that's not released yet. And the reality is that this is pretty common knowledge. It's just taking what we already know and applying it just a little bit differently and biting the bullet on how my method's probably slower than what the efficient player would do. Well, it is slower than what the efficient player will do, but it's basically splashing for melee builds. So our goal is to see just how long we can stay alive, get relatively good experience without having to touch the computer. This will allow us to do literally anything else, whether you are at work or at class or working on your car or, feeding the kid, whatever you have to do. The goal is to come back, pull up your phone real quick, be able to refresh what you're doing, and then go back to what you're doing. So the idea is to only have to play with your phone a few seconds about every 15 minutes, which leaves us at, a total of maybe 30 seconds an hour is like the physical time you're putting into the game to get 75,000 experience an hour. It doesn't get much better than that. So here's going to be the difference between what people normally do when they're playing Nightmare Zone and when they're training. Normally, people would go into hard mode, take absorption potions or prayer potions, and they'd take overloads. They'd choose bosses with a lot of health but with low defense, and then pretty much work from there. We're not doing that this time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose the 5 bosses with the lowest defense possible, but we're not going to use overloads and we're not going to use hard Nightmare Zone. We're going to do a normal, customizable Nightmare Zone Rumble, and we're going to go ahead, get those 5 easiest bosses possible that we have. 2 of them are on Zaya, and our goal is to be able to last for 6 hours without dying. Now you're probably thinking, okay, well if we're not going to use overloads, what are we going to do? And that is super combat potions. We're going to get 6 super combat potions, okay? And that'll allow us to pot up once every 15 minutes for an entire 6 hours, and then we're going to use 22 absorption potions. Now I know what you're thinking, Well, shouldn't we have our health down at 1 hit point, because that way we'll be able to save our absorption potions longer? The answer is no. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how that works, in Nightmare Zone, if you have an object like a rock cake that'll damage you, you can drop your health down to 1 hit point. Now, that would make this method less AFKable, so we're not going to do it. Instead, we're going to focus on the fact that we have high defense armor, that our monsters that we're fighting do not hit very hard, and we're going to bank on them consistently not hitting very hard so that we can last 6 hours regardless. Now, I have 85 defense and I'm able to last 6 hours. If you're a pure, well, you might have to drop your hit points down to 1, but if you're a pure, you already know that you're setting yourself up for a little bit of a harder time anyway, but this will still work. You just might not get the full 6 hours out of everything. At the end of the day, you're dealing with normal bosses, not hard bosses. They don't hit very hard. I mean, you're attacking level 30s and 40s and 50s. Like, they're not going to be doing all that much damage relative to what you would expect in a hard mode. So taking a look at my gear, our goal is to focus on gear that has high defense bonuses, but also high strength bonuses. Having a higher defense bonus means that we're obviously going to be tanking a lot harder, but it's important for us to keep our strength bonus up so that way we're constantly doing damage. Now, what you're going to want to do is get full obsidian, and then get a berserker necklace and the obsidian knife. That is the Toktiz Zil AK. I don't even know why I'm trying to pronounce that. And then the best accuracy gear that you have, whether that be a berserker ring, a dragon defender, a fire cape, Barrow's gloves. If you don't have those, you can go ahead and opt for an obsidian cape or a regen bracelet or a warrior ring, or a rune defender. But you really should try to get the best stuff possible, because you're going to be looking at a 100-hour grind regardless. Even if you won't be physically doing all 100 hours while sitting in front of your computer, you could turn a 2-week venture into a 4-week venture just by having the wrong gear. So make sure if you have the time to play for a weekend, you go ahead and you get the gear that you need and work from there. If you have more money than just the obsidian, go ahead and pick up some bandos. That'll absolutely help. I have tried this method with a Sarah sword, and it looks like the obsidian knife ends up working out for better DPS in the long run. Now, the way the obsidian weapons work with a berserker necklace is that whenever you are attacking things, you are able to do a lot more damage, but you end up not having as much accuracy. So what you pretty much need are bosses with low defense. That way you can still hit them very often. But this ends up working out because we're only using normal NMZ, so they don't have any, extra resistances or anything. You're going to be able to fly right through them. You'll see I'll hit 30s, even 40s sometimes, and I've been hitting 40s since I was like level 94 strength. Like, it's crazy how high the sword hits, and then, your experience is going to directly reflect off of that. So once you're set and you're walking into Nightmare Zone, make sure you go right in between these two gray things. One looks like a piece of armor, and one looks like, I don't know, a music instrument of some sort, but make sure you're standing right in between those. Now that you're right between them, face your camera north, walk 1 tile north. You have to stand here. If you don't stand here, there's a chance that you'll get logged out because monsters can get trapped. That little blood spot that's directly to the west of us, that is where one of the monsters spawn, and it will help you with your XP. It'll help you not being able to get disconnected, and overall, it'll let you stay here for as long as you need. So once you finally get here, you're good to go ahead and pot up, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, there are a couple things you're going to want to keep in mind. You have to touch the game at least once every 20 minutes. And when I say touch the game, I mean like you have to come in, you have to either drink an absorption potion or click attack on a monster. You have to interact with the game in some way, shape, or form. Moving the camera does not consist enough. You have to like either switch through a tab or attack something, but you only have to do that once every 20 minutes. Now, what I like doing, right, is I like doing it every 15 minutes. That way I can go ahead and use a full potion every hour, and then I generally speaking won't even have gone through too many absorptions. I let myself AFK for 40 minutes. 40 minutes, right? So I went 20 minutes getting experience, and then I went 20 minutes not gaining anything at all and just AFKing, and I never logged out. And that being said, I also never lost all of my absorption potions. So like I said, this is 85 defense, but if you're doing this for a little bit of time, you're going to hit 85 defense in no time at all. 85 defense for me is, it's like 3.5 million experience. That's drops in the bucket when you're thinking of getting, 40 million total experience across the board for your melee stats, right? You can get that real quick. But what I'm trying to say is that you could sit there and AFK for an ungodly amount of time just by doing this. So let's move on to the final step then, right? You're logged in, you're on RuneScape, you're on your computer, you're in Nightmare Zone, and you want to leave the house, you want to go do something else, you don't want to be at your computer, and you're like, okay, how do I do this, right? What is the next step? Because you obviously can't log into the mobile app right now because you're logged into your computer, right? What you do now is you do what's called Chrome Remote Desktop, or you could even use like TeamViewer or whatever, right? The goal is to access your personal computer from your phone. And I personally, and this is not a sponsored video, but I like Chrome Remote Desktop. So all I have to do is log in with my Google Chrome stuff on my computer by getting the extension in the App Store and then going ahead and getting the Chrome Remote Desktop onto my iPhone, and then I can just log into it. Once you link your email addresses, all I have to do now is just go to the app on my phone, and then boom, I'm right here. I'm on my computer right now. The benefit of doing that is that the game still sees you as logged into, for me it's RuneLite, right? The game sees me logged into my computer right now. Whereas if you're on the mobile app, you guys have probably noticed this, right? If you're AFK on the mobile app and you lock your phone for whatever reason, like, it'll log you out immediately. And that's really frustrating, right? Because I don't know about you guys, I want to use my phone, right? I don't want to have, my ability to browse Reddit or whatever be limited, or I don't want to have to, like, keep my phone on and put it in my pocket while I'm doing other stuff, right? Like, I want to be able to do other stuff. I don't want to have to leave my phone on the entire time, and I still want to get my AFK gains, right? I only need to be interacting with the game once every 15 minutes. Why can't I lock my phone, right? Well, with this, since you're essentially just going in through your computer, you can go ahead and lock it and do whatever, right? So every 15 minutes, you pull out your Chrome Remote Desktop, you go and you connect to your computer, and you go ahead and you repot up, you reabsorb up, and then you close it, and that's it. And I'll see you in 15 minutes. You can come right back. And the cool thing is, since you're constantly AFKing, if you forget it for 15 minutes, you'll have up to 20 minutes where you'll still be in combat. And then if it goes over 20 minutes, right, you might log out if you're out of combat for whatever reason. Maybe a monster gets stuck, right? Or you'll just be sitting there and you'll be being attacked and you won't be attacking back, and all you have to do is just pick right back up where you are. But at the end of the day, you're getting 75k XP an hour, and you're not even doing anything, right? This isn't against the rules. This isn't illegal in the RuneScape world, right? You're just going ahead and you're AFKing. You're just AFKing through your phone in a different way, in a more productive way. And guys, with that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you're looking for ways to get gear and get money, I will be uploading a video here very soon for the Busy-scaper's way to getting cash as well, because I know that, we're all very busy, and I think videos like these are definitely helpful. So go ahead, drop a like, subscribe if you helped. I will be doing a handful of other RuneScape videos in the future, but I mostly do general gaming these days. I love you all very much, and I will see you in the next video.